Stephen Breyer retiring from the Supreme Court, Joe Biden has been trying his damnedest in order to press his own nominee, Ketanji Brown Jackson, to be his replacement on the Supreme Court. If she is confirmed, she will be the first black woman to become a member of the Supreme Court. Yet, during her time of 2 days of litigation, Democrats have been raising concerns over allegedly soft sentencings for child porn offenders, as well as allegedly lenient treatment of fentanyl dealers, as well as even having issues in regarding her judicial philosophy, or lack thereof, because she hasn't really actually stated outright what her judicial philosophy is. Hell, she even went so far as to say, or at the very least, when asked what a woman is, she couldn't say because she's not a biologist. Well, I'm not a biologist either, and I can pretty sure that I know what a woman is. But regardless of that, unfortunately, it's looking like Ketanji Brown Jackson is going to be the next member of the Supreme Court. And it's something that I honestly do not like, because this screams, not just her entire appointment, just screams wokeness in general, as well as a diversity hire, because Joe Biden specifically said that he's going to try to appoint a new Supreme Court justice who happens to be a black woman into that position that Stephen Breyer is now leaving vacant. This is despite the fact that last time I checked, a poll said, and this is from NBC, that 75% of people polled want Joe Biden to look at more of a broader scope in terms of looking for nominees. They didn't want her to want specifically this new replacement to be there just because she was black and a woman. They wanted to make sure that she was, or he, whatever, actually has the experience as well as the knowledge in terms of Supreme Court cases. Which I myself, if I were polled, would be within that field of category. But nonetheless, Joe Biden has been pressing hard with this situation, and unfortunately, again, it's looking like Democrats will push her to become the next member of the Supreme Court. I say this because Joe Manchin, according to Fox News, and I'm reading this by my phone, Manchin backed Biden Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson, said it could confirm Jackson as soon as early April. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to happen with it being early April. It could be several months more down the line, but I guarantee that's going to happen at least before the midterms. So continue on. Senator Joe Manchin Friday said that he will support Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson for the Supreme Court as the nominee inches closer to confirmation. After meeting with her, considering her record, and closely monitoring her testimony and questioning before the Senate Judiciary Committee this week, I have determined I intend to vote for her nomination to serve on the Supreme Court, Manchin D. West Virginia said in a Friday statement. Her wide array of experiences in varied sectors of our judicial system has provided Judge Jackson a unique perspective that will serve her well on the nation's highest court. During our meeting, she was warm and gracious, and on top of her impressive resume, she has the temperament to make an exceptional jurist. Now, obviously, I do not agree with Joe Manchin on that, and it's clear that Joe Manchin is trying to basically play ball with Joe Biden in terms of politics. After all, he has been a major player when it comes to dealing with policy, at least within the legislative aspect during this time with the Biden administration, or as I would probably like to call it, the Biden regime, because I still think that he would think, because of the evidence, that he was elected, not elected. But I'm getting past that right now. Right now, I think that, again, this may be like some long run move in order for Joe Manchin to keep his reign on power, but I'm not sure how much West Virginians are going to like this. But continuing on with this article, Democrats are expected to remain united behind Jackson, who President Biden chose to replace retiree Justice Stephen Breyer in February. But Manchin was key to blocking multiple Biden nominees to key posts since last year, and therefore was not considered as much of a given to support Jackson as other rank-and-file Democratic senators. Manchin most recently blocked the confirmation of former Federal Reserve Vice Chair for Supervision nominee Sarah Bloom Raskin. So yeah, that's a major problem. He's been a major thorn within Biden's side throughout this entire aspect of trying to get a lot of positions confirmed. He has been, along with Kyrsten Sinema, a major player in trying to get the Democrats to do whatever the hell they want. I mean, after all, they're the ones who are in the major Republican areas, Arizona and West Virginia. Sinema for Arizona and Manchin for West Virginia, and he's definitely trying to use, from what I've been looking at throughout these past year, he's been trying to use that as more of a bargaining chip to get whatever the hell he wants, specifically in order to keep his position, as well as to remain on the tight line between Republicans who could easily vote Republican at any time, and trying to toe the line with a very hard line Democratic Party. Other Senate Democrats who either have a moderate streak or are up for re-election this year have yet to officially back Jackson. They include Senators Kyrsten Sinema, Democrat Arizona, and Jon Tester, Democrat Montana, but there has been no real indication GOP attacks on the nominee are having an effect on these Democrats. And unfortunately, I would agree with this. I think that Kyrsten Sinema will likely do the same thing as Joe Manchin does. She will support Ketanji Brown Jackson for going into the Supreme Court. And in terms of Jon Tester, I do not know, but considering that, from what I've seen, he's not as much of a big player in the Democratic Party, and two, honestly, he's been more with towing the line with the Democratic Party for the last year, ever since Joe Biden became president. So I don't really have as much faith in Tester, in my honest opinion, despite the fact that he comes from the state of Montana, which, like Arizona and West Virginia, are red states. But I could be wrong. Sinema could easily, or even Tester could easily say no as a major power play. I don't know for sure. But what I do know is that it's going to be still a major fight for Ketanji Brown Jackson in order to get into the Supreme Court. After all, right now, the Senate is split 50-50, and the Democrats have currently the advantage of having Kamala Harris as VP. Because in the case of the vice president, whenever there is a tie, the vice president comes in and manages to use his or her vote in order to break the tie. This happened during the Trump administration with Mike Pence in the case of Betsy DeVos, which she was confirmed for the Department of Education. Wouldn't be surprised if this happened here. So unfortunately, I do think that Ketanji Brown Jackson will 100% be a member of the Supreme Court. But I still hold to this belief that it's just going to be a minor victory for Biden. After all, Stephen Breyer himself was a liberal justice. The Democrats are not going to gain anything for just replacing one liberal with another. Absolutely not. What would happen is if, say, like what is going on with Clarence Thomas, him being administered to the hospital, and I pray to God that he recovers from whatever illness he has. He possibly dies, and Biden has to pick a replacement for Clarence Thomas. That would be a major blow. But in the case right now with Stephen Breyer, that's not really much of an issue. It's basically keeping to the status quo, and at this moment in time, that's what the Democrats want. And I honestly based upon the trajectory as well as what Joe Manchin just said, I honestly think that Jackson will get that spot. But then again, that could easily change with Cinema or dang it, what was that guy's name? Sorry, hold on. Tester, Jaw Tester. My bad. It's just he is not that much of a big deal when it comes to Senate politics, so I didn't really know that much about this guy. But it could be a major game changer that none of the Democrats ever see. And all that's needed for Jackson to lose this nomination is just one senator. But right now, I do not see that going to happen. At most, I see the Republicans trying to issue a filibuster in order to delay or to stop this. Nothing more. In fact, this article from Fox News actually says the same thing. Let me get to this. Okay, here we go. Democrats are expected to move as quickly as possible to confirm Jackson, given the number of variables in the 50-50 Senate, including the possibility a senator could be sidelined with a health issue, including COVID-19. The Senate does not allow remote voting. In the case United GOP opposition to Jackson in committee, which is the Senate Judicial Committee, which is split 11-11 in an evenly divided chamber, Senate Democrats can still bring her nomination to the floor through a process called a discharge motion. Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat New York, can make that motion as early as the day after the tied committee vote and immediately after the Senate could move onto the nomination. With a GOP filibuster expected, final confirmation could happen as early as Thursday, April 7th, or Friday, April 8th, allowing that timetable could slip into the following weekend or the next week with a variety of reasons. So, honestly, unless something major changes, I do not expect Ketanji Brown Jackson to not be struck down as nominee of the Supreme Court, unfortunately. But again, I still stress this importance. This is just keeping to the status quo. Liberals are just retaining one of their seats in the Supreme Court. Conservatives, at least theoretically, hold the majority, 5-4. And unless something happens, like say with Clarence Thomas dying, and again, I hope that doesn't happen, and I pray to God that doesn't happen, considering that much of a political ramifications that will have. That's not going to change. That is not going to change whatsoever. And yeah, I do not like Ketanji Brown Jackson. I think she is a major problem especially with what she said, as well as the concerns that the Republicans made regarding her during the hearings. But at most, she's just going to be there as another one of the Supreme Court members, and is not really going to be able to do much of anything. She isn't going to be a big game changer. It will take one of the 5 justices on the Supreme Court who happen to be with at least a conservative way, or at least a moderate, to kick the bucket or retire, or resign, or something like that. If that happens, that would be a major play. But I don't see that happening right now. My name is Noah B. here on The Art Truth. Please post your comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, and share with your friends. Also, if you have any issues regarding my videos, such as how I speak, or how the quality of my video, whatever, please post it down in the comment section down below, so that way it can improve, or directly message me. Thank you.
Almost